Hello and welcome to the Kopala TV main news. We get straight into our headlines for today. Health Board Zambia of United Methodist visits Helen Kaunda and Kitwe Boys Secondary Schools. UPND on the Copperbelt appeals to CSOs to help sensitize the general populace to obtain NRCs. In international news, Macron mobbed on shattered streets of Lebanon. Join us in a bit after this. To present the Kopala TV main news, my name is Abuela Musongole. The Health Board Zambia of United Methodist, together with the Kitwe District Education Board and Kitwe District Health Office, have embarked on the HIV sensitization program for pupils in Kitwe District. The church visited Helen Kaunda and Kitwe Boys Secondary Schools, and sensitization is targeting 5 schools in Kitwe. Details are in the following report.
The coronavirus pandemic has put everything on a halt, and now we are seeing the confirmed cases of coronavirus on a rise. Not only are the cases of COVID-19 on a rise, even cases of HIV, GBV, as well as depression. No wonder the Health Board Zambia of United Methodists are engaging pupils in HIV sensitization in the new normal. They have visited Helen Kaunda and Kitwe Boys Secondary Schools. While observing all the guidelines by the Ministry of Health, pupils were addressed by the representatives from the Kitwe District Education Board, Kitwe District Health Office, as well as the United Methodist Church. The program is only targeting 5 schools in Kitwe, and here is why.
Because we rely on grants. It's based on the budget. Picking the schools whereby we know that when many organizations are dealing with HIV, they more speak to adults like us. We are mature enough. We've heard a lot about HIV. But bear in mind that among the youths or these pupils, there are children who were born HIV positive.
However, the Kitwe District Health Office explained why they are targeting pupils and what they plan to achieve.
Where to those that are in grade 12, they will be leaving school and they will be in society anytime soon. So we just wanted to sensitize to them. Yes, I'm sure you heard the president has actually made a pronouncement to say it's a new normal now. So in the midst of the new normal, we needed to equip our pupils, our children, to ensure that they are ready for society and so on. So in as much as it was a brief talk, at least some reminders have been sent to them. So we're sensitizing them on issues to do with HIV and AIDS, and a little bit of COVID-19, because we've actually seen the complacence that's there in most people, including the pupils themselves.
And Kitwe District Guidance and Counseling Coordinator Shadrack Sikwese is pleased with the work by the United Methodist Health Department, and this is what he had to say.
We've been doing our best, especially that we've made it, that every school has a guidance and counseling teacher. Of course, I'm the guidance coordinator for Kitwe and I can't be everywhere. So all our schools, 81 schools, have the guidance teachers who are interacting with these learners on a daily basis. Whenever they have issues, they even know where to run to. There's a guidance teacher. Even the issues of HIV and AIDS, our learners who are living with HIV, they usually interact with the guidance teacher.
There is need to educate the pupils on the importance of abstaining from sex. It's clear that everyone has concentrated more on the aspect of condomizing and forgetting about the old saying, which goes, abstinence iliche. I'm Diana Kafwala, reporting for Kopala TV News in Kitwe.
Kitwe City Council is committed to providing an enabling environment to the informal sector so that citizens can participate in the growing of the economy, and as such, vending booths are facilities which offer financial and communication business space to the informal, financial and communication subsectors of the economy. In a statement made available to Kopala TV News, KCC Public Relations Officer Nelly Nkolongo says it is sadly observed that some booths are being mounted in an uncoordinated manner and without the authority of the council. Ms. Nkolongo said booth operators need to know that the mandate to manage public space, streets and roads reserve is vested in the local authority pursuant to Section 16(2) of the Local Government Act No. 2 of 2019 of the laws of Zambia. Moving on, the United Party for National Development UPND says it is appealing to the civil societies CSOs, non-governmental organization NGOs, and community-based organizations CBOs to take an active role in the sensitization of youths who are eligible to obtain NRCs and the general populace not to shun the exercise. UPND Copperbelt Provincial Information and Publicity Secretary Lawrence Mwanza has told Kopala TV News that the sensitization should not be left to the politicians because politicians were not the only ones at the grassroots. Mr. Mwanza went on to say CSOs, NGOs and CBOs were better placed because they are working with the communities in the country.
As UPND on the Copper Belt wishes to appeal to the civil societies, non-government organizations, community-based organizations to take an active role in the sensitization of the youths who are eligible to take NRCs and the general populace not to shun the exercise. The sensitization should not be left to politicians because politicians are not the only ones at the grassroots. The CSOs and non-government organizations were better placed because they are working with the communities in the country. We are worried as a party when we look at the passiveness on the mentioned organizations which are supposed to help the government in ensuring communities were well informed about the national mobile registration exercise which commenced on 1st August 2020. I'm also appealing to all political parties to be proactive in sensitizing eligible youths in our communities. The National Registration Card exercise is very important because it gives our youths the mandate to register as voters.
In case you have just tuned in, you're watching the Kopala TV main news. We break for commercials. We'll be right back.
Kopala TV, Kopala ya buena mumwesu Kopala.
My number. Ishusho limentindeya za yama oji orushani. Kopala TV.
Yama oji. Imuntu wandi Yesu. Fwebene by fwebene. Fwebene. Naidede kalasti. Iyako Kopala futi yaba Kopala.
Manje kuikatashani yoina. Naena ya kuntambo oroni jiviji.
Wala iwe. Ile sango patop stad koda. Channel 98 paku. Ninshi ya tuvira. Puta mensa ninshi ya lila ni efidimbwi. Kule izimoli la femunjazi.
So yuri landati Kopala TV tayawanga ya maboiling channel wako watu wachila tamba fe wino. Kwangwa filamba fyambo kupona. Uruwa mfotoro. Pantu ifuma channel wefingi fyamo pura fi.
Alula iwe. Kopala TV ni Kopala futi eile kuchalo. No ushali mokuba molasti. Elo ile sansa Kopala yonse my number. Ukwambila fepa my number pandula lwansha. Kito paketi ke mufurila mufuken. Chingola pa chingo begi na chidila iwe. Ni Kopala TV eiliko.
Muntu wanja pakushongora fika top star we tatande tambela pofi Kopala TV. Pachani 98 pakude konkana ne charo bumper to bamba. Ni pate after pate. Wo, pate after pate. Wo. Kopala TV OG. Yeah. Kopala TV, available on Topstar Channel 98. Kopala TV, entertainment just for you.
Looking for an opportunity to grow your business? Well, Kopala TV has good news for all small-scale businesses. You can now advertise on Kopala TV's Makwebo. Bonseba na mayo na bashtata. Iseni mulangishe amakwebo yenu pamutengo uachepa nga 100 kwacha. Yes, you heard right. For as low as 100 kwacha, your business will get its peak. Whatever the business, we will advertise. All you need to do is send a text of what your business offers, indicating the name, location, and contact details to the number below. Payment for the advertising spot can be made through MTN mobile money on the number down below. Makwebo, make your business known.
One Zambia, one nation.
Zambia chalo chesu. Stop political violence.
I am Zambian. I am against political violence.
I am Zambian, and I say disarm all cadres now.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
It's not good killing one another as Zambians. Stop the violence.
Let's keep the peace in our streets. Let's work to stay one Zambia.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
Ndimwina Zambia. Lekeni ukulwa pamulandu wa politics.
Welcome back. Still on the United Party for National Development, the UPND has expressed disappointment with Luanshya Copper Mines for keeping workers hostage for more than 6 months. UPND former Copperbelt Information Publicity Secretary Kennedy Kalunga says it is unfortunate that the miners at Miliashi and Baluba mines respectively have been denied freedom to see their families. Speaking to Kopala TV News, Mr. Kalunga appealed to government to intervene in the matter and pay investors tax refund so that they can let go of the miners.
As a party, UPND on the copper belt would like to appeal to the manager mining of Luanshya Copper Mine to rescind the decision of quarantine the miners at Luanshya mines, Miliashi and Baluba. We feel that denying the right of the workers is not in order. We feel that the workers should have the freedom to visit their family, and the workers themselves should have the right to have a life, even a social life. An employee should not restrict a worker to slavery condition where it's like now workers are imprisoned, where they cannot go back to their homes, and this has taken now long. It is more than 6 months when workers that in Luanshya, those that work for the mines, are being quarantined. We feel that the mines government also should intervene so that these workers should also have the right to visit their families. In fact, not only the right to visit, they should just be going for work as usual, whereby they report for work, they work for certain hours, then they go back home, sleep in their homes, and sleep at their workplaces. This is not something that is right. Why should they be denied their freedom?
Meanwhile, Leadership Movement Party President Chalwe Chandalala says some Chinese companies have continued violating workers' rights by not allowing workers to go home after work for over 3 to 5 months, citing the coronavirus pandemic, especially on the Copperbelt, Lusaka and southern provinces. However, Mr. Chandalala commended media outlets for the continuous reporting on the subject matter of locking Zambian workers up, especially the youths, who are the majority victims but are left with no option due to lack of jobs in the country.
As leadership movement, we wish to urge Chinese companies to stop holding workers hostage by not allowing them to go home due to COVID-19. It has come to our attention that some Chinese companies are violating workers' rights to go home after work for 3 to 5 months, citing coronavirus pandemic, especially on the Copper Belt, Lusaka, and southern provinces. One may wonder why Chinese companies are behaving in this manner with the full knowledge of the Labor Commissioner, Human Rights Commission, and the local authorities. However, such cases in 2021 under the leadership movement, LM, will not go unpunishable, as it is an inhuman and serious violation of human rights. Lastly, we commend media outlets for the continuous reporting on the subject matter of locking Zambian workers, especially the youth, whom are the majority victims but are left with no option due to lack of jobs in the country. It is for this reason the leadership movement is arguing all the youths to register for the national recruitment for jobs in 2021.
Lastly, in local news, a Kitwe pharmacy technologist has been fined 30,000 kwacha, or in default 9 months imprisonment, for operating a pharmacy without the certificate of registration in contravention of Section 14(1) of the Medicines and Allied Substance Act No. 3 of 2013. According to a statement that was availed to Kopala TV News, issued by Zamra Senior Public Relations Officer Christabel Mutale Liamupu, Kosam Piri, aged 41 years old, was discovered to have been operating an illegal drugstore during a routine inspection that was undertaken by the Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority, Zamra, in Wusakile Township in Kitwe. In case you have just tuned in, you are still watching the Kopala TV main news. We break once more and return with foreign news.
Kopala TV, Kopala ya buena mumwesu Kopala. Kopala TV.
My number ishusho limentindeyaza yama OG olushana Kopala TV
yama OG imuntu wandi Yesu fwebene by fwebene aidede kalasti yako Kopala futi yaba Kopala
manje kuikatashani yoina naena ya kuntambo oroni jiviji
wala iwe ile sango top star decoder channel 98 paku ninshi yatobera puta mensa ninshi yalila ni evidimbwe kule izimuli la pemunjazi
so yulila ndati Kopala TV tayabanga ya maboiling channel wako batu wachila tamba fe wino kwangwa filamba fyambo kupona uruwa mfotoro bantu ifuma chane wefingi fyamo pura fi
alula iwe Kopala TV ni Kopala futhi kuchalo no ushali mokuba molasti elo ile sansa Kopala yonse my number ukwambila pepa my number pandula lwansha kito paketi ke mufudila mufuken chingola pa chingo begi na chidila iwe ni Kopala TV liko
muntu wanja pakushongora kufika top star wetata ndetambira pofi Kopala TV pachani 98 pakude konkana ne charo bampa to bamba ni pate after pate wo pate after pate wo
Kopala TV OG
Kopala TV, available on Topstar Channel 98. Kopala TV, entertainment just for you.
Looking for an opportunity to grow your business? Well, Kopala TV has good news for all small-scale businesses. You can now advertise on Kopala TV's Makwebo. bonse bana mayo na bashtata iseni mulangishe amakwebo yenu pamutengo uachepa nga 100 kwacha. Yes, you heard right. For as low as 100 kwacha, your business will get its peak. Whatever the business, we will advertise. All you need to do is send a text of what your business offers, indicating the name, location, and contact details to the number below. Payment for the advertising spot can be made through MTN mobile money on the number down below. Makwebo, make your business known.
One Zambia, one nation.
Zambia chalo chesu. Stop political violence.
I am Zambian. I am against political violence.
I am Zambian, and I say disarm all cadres now.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
It's not good killing one another as Zambians. Stop the violence.
Let's keep the peace in our streets. Let's work to stay one Zambia.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
Ndimwina Zambia. Lekeni ukulwa pamulandu wa politics.
Welcome back, and now for international news. The French president was surrounded by security guards as he visited the devastated city of Beirut. Lebanon is reeling from a massive explosion in its capital's port, and the said explosion damaged more than half the city and left countless families homeless, and it comes at a time of economic and political trauma. We monitored Al Jazeera for this report.
With a tidal wave of anger sweeping the country, President Macron stepped onto the shattered streets. All around him, desperate and furious voices shouted out for reform of a rotten political class, which they claim is responsible for the blast.
Look at our shops, look at our family, look at our houses.
As he shook hands with victims of the disaster and listened to their stories, he also told me Lebanon needs much more than just supplies of aid.
I'm here to bring help to coordinate. We will launch a European and international initiative to bring money and help directly to people. But at the other side, we have to launch a new political initiative to change in depth what is today at stake, because all this nervosity that you see, all this fear, anger, this anxiety, this anger you have is against politicians and against corruption in the country. Everything is broken. A lot of things. But you know, in this country you have marvelous people. Lebanese people are so brave. So this is our chance.
At times, his security detail lost their footing on the pavements of broken glass. But the French leader did something here that no Lebanese politician would dare to even think. He came and showed his face.
What's happening here is quite spectacular. President Macron's come onto the streets. He's meeting people and hearing their concerns. And for many, they are seeing something that they've perhaps never seen before, and that's his real leadership. And that's why they're coming to him to demand for change.
But whilst his walkabout was well received, this gesture will amount to nothing if there is no concrete change. Serena Etchoufi told him not to trust Lebanon's government, who he'd meet later.
He says he's going to meet with all the political leaders. They're the ones that have been taking the country hostage since 1975.
So what is your message to the French president?
I told him, give the money to NGOs, give the money to the people in need, do not give it to the president.
The Saudi Crown Prince is accused of dispatching a group of hitmen to kill a former top Saudi intelligence official, Saad al-Jabari, who is in exile in Canada. The allegation was made in a lawsuit filed by al-Jabari in Washington, D.C. The hitmen were allegedly sent by Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, just days after journalist Jamal Khashoggi was murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in October 2018. They failed to get past the borders at Toronto's airport, but the lawsuit alleges al-Jabari's life remains in dire peril. Al-Jabari is seeking damages from MBS for allegedly orchestrating an attempted extrajudicial killing and for violating international law. We monitored Al Jazeera for this story.
What you said in the introduction there, the case has been issued here in the district court in D.C. Saad al-Jabari was believed to have had strong connections to U.S. intelligence. He served as a senior official in Saudi Arabia for a long period of time and then left that country back in May 2018 and went to Turkey first and then Canada, where he took up residence. In October, as you mentioned, he received warnings, it is said, that a Saudi hit squad was after him. This is at the same time as Jamal Khashoggi was murdered in Istanbul. Once again, he immediately took steps to try and protect himself and his family. But the hit squad, known as the Tiger Squad, according to the court papers, was denied entry at the Pearson airport. They were turned back. But what has subsequently happened is that 2 of his children were detained in Saudi Arabia, and they are still being held there, according to the court papers, which in what is described as human bait, to lure him out so that the Saudi government can deal with him.
Mike, this was all filed in the US rather than in Canada. Can you talk us through why and where this goes from here?
Well, it's been filed in the US predominantly because of al-Bari's ties to US intelligence. Also, in his court papers, there is a lot about Saudi-US relations, which does have an immediate context in terms of being filed here in Washington, D.C. But what he is doing is seeking unspecified damages from the Crown Prince, and certainly this is going to be a long case. Obviously, the Crown Prince is going to deny these allegations, as will his legal representatives. But the court will be looking at all the details at this very, very long and very detailed court proceeding that has been brought before them. Al-Bari, as I said, seeking some form of unspecified damages from the Crown Prince for potential injury to himself and, of course, injury that has already happened to members of his family, according to the court filings, remembering, as I said, that 2 of his children are still being detained in Saudi Arabia.
Mike Hanna there in Washington, D.C. with all those details for us. Thank you very much, Mike. Well, we can now also speak to Imad Harb. He's the Director of Research and Analysis at the Arab Center, Washington, D.C., and he joins us now on Skype from there. Imad, let me start by asking, are we seeing a pattern emerge here?
Of course we are. Unfortunately, this is, these are that unfortunately has resorted to before. We know of the Khashoggi murder. We also know that a lot of people inside Saudi Arabia are either thrown in jail or disappeared. It is very, very plausible, very possible that he would do something like this. But at what price? This is the problem. The price is the reputation of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. If he cannot stand some criticism or things of that nature, it's very, very tough to rule a kingdom with this kind of record.
Finally, in foreign news, millions of people who rent their homes in the United States are facing eviction amid the coronavirus pandemic. By some estimates, 40 million people could lose their homes, affecting poverty rates, homelessness, and the wider economy. We monitored Al Jazeera one last time.
Even as unemployment rates remain at historic highs, the coronavirus pandemic shows no signs of slowing. With so many out of work in the midst of a health crisis, the spectre of mass evictions is now real. Temporary moratoriums meant to prevent renters losing their homes have been lifted in 30 states. and millions are facing a harsh reality.
The landlord here has started an eviction process against us when my mom lost her job, her full-time job, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And I'm completely scared and frightened because I don't want to become homeless. I don't want my family to be split up and have to live in a homeless shelter.
Over the last few months, as job losses have grown, so too have the lines at food banks. That massive loss of income and increasing desperation not only affects renters, but landlords too.
Somebody who might own just one property and that's how they survive. They take the rental income to pay their bills, or they have a duplex and they might live in one half and rent out the other. Without the rental income, they cannot pay their bills.
This is absolutely a time to be generous and provide additional federal relief to people who've been laid off.
In Washington, negotiations between the Democratic Party and the Republicans continue over a new relief program. Some unemployment benefits officially ended last month, with no new plans in place. That, combined with an end to protection from eviction, could have a devastating effect. Housing experts say without action, the US could witness a tsunami of evictions that may affect tens of millions of people. Without homes, many are forced to live with relatives or in shelters, increasing their risk of contracting COVID-19. The court system is overwhelmed hearing eviction cases, as a safety net designed to protect the most vulnerable seems to be straining. According to the data company Statista, 40% of Americans are now at risk of eviction. For some, it's already happened.
It's heartbreaking. You know, I lost my job, and when I went on with that, I lost everything else. No money, no nothing. I don't sleep well, or I stay worried about stuff all the time.
By some estimates, 40 million people could lose their homes, impacting poverty rates, homelessness, and the wider economy. Andy Gallagher, Al Jazeera, Miami, Florida.
That item concludes the Kopala TV main news for today, but before we go, we'll take a look at the stories that made headlines once more. Health Board Zambia of United Methodist visits Helen Kaunda and Kito Boys Secondary Schools. UPND on the Copperbelt appeals to CSOs to help sensitize the general populace on obtaining NICs. In international news, Macron mobbed on shattered streets of Lebanon. Thank you for watching the Kopala TV main news. My name is Wabula Musongole, and pleasant viewing.
Audio